The rosemary was still on my fingers. When a single text shattered everything. You're not invited. I don't want you here. No warning. No explanation. Just erased. And that's when I decided. If they wanted life without me, they were about to get exactly that. I was standing in my kitchen, preparing dinner. Lamb roast. Their favorite. My hands moved automatically. The way they always had. Same recipe. Same routine. Because this wasn't just dinner. It was their dinner. The one I paid for. Planned. Organized. The one meant to celebrate their new home. A home. I helped them buy. Then my phone buzzed. Sharp. Sudden. Out of place. I wiped my hands, picked it up. And everything changed. A message from my daughter-in-law, Isabel. No greeting. No warmth. Just 2 cold lines. You're not invited to dinner. I don't want you here. I read it again. And again. Maybe I misunderstood. But no. There was nothing to misunderstand. It was clear. Brutal. Final. Sent at 4:17 p.m. The same day I was supposed to arrive. I stood there, completely still. Not angry. Not even sad. Just quiet inside. Because the truth hit me all at once. I had paid for that dinner. Actually, I had paid for everything. Their wedding DJ. Their honeymoon. Their groceries. Even their Wi-Fi for the last 4 years. And when their daughter Lily was born, the hospital bills? That was me too. The house they lived in. The one with the beautiful mountain view I'd only seen twice. I covered the down payment. And now? I wasn't welcome. My fingers moved on their own. I typed one word. Okay, that was it. No drama. No questions. Just, okay. Then I walked to my desk and opened something I hadn't touched in months. A black ledger. Every single thing I had ever given them was written there. Carefully. Precisely. $120 for a stroller. $5,000 for their wedding DJ. $2,500 for their home deposit. Page after page. Of love disguised as support. Over 150 entries. I didn't cry. I didn't call them. I didn't confront anyone. Instead, I deleted the digital backup file. Gone. Like it never existed. A clean slate. And then, I did something they never expected. I disappeared. No more bank alerts. No more just checking in calls. No more help. Nothing. Because they had made one mistake. They thought my love was a lifeline they could always grab. What they didn't realize is that they had just cut the rope themselves. But here's the thing. This didn't actually start with that text. No, the real damage started 3 months earlier with something I was never supposed to hear. It was a quiet spring evening. Cool. I had driven across town just to drop off a care package. Homemade soup, frozen meals, diapers for little Lily. Simple things. The kind you do when you love someone. I rang the doorbell. Isabel opened the door. Phone pressed to her ear. And before she even looked at me, she said something that froze me in place. Yeah, she's here again. Her tone? Sharp. Annoyed. Then she added, I swear, she just looks for excuses to show up. My heart dropped. The worst part? Her phone was connected to a Bluetooth speaker, sitting right there on the table. She knew I could hear. And she didn't care. For a second. I couldn't move. Couldn't speak. I just stood there, holding that bag, like a stranger at her door. Then suddenly, she turned to me. And just like that, her entire face changed. A fake smile appeared. Oh, hi, Catherine. That's so kind of you. Kind. That word almost made me laugh. I handed her the bag, nodded, and walked away. No reaction. No scene. But inside, something cracked. That was the first time. I thought about stepping back, but I didn't. Not yet. Because of Leo. My son. He had always been soft-hearted, gentle, caring. He used to call me every weekend. Without fail. We'd talk for hours. About nothing and everything. Those calls? They made my quiet house feel alive. But after Isabel came into his life, those calls slowly faded. At first, less frequent. then shorter, then almost gone. Like someone was slowly turning the volume down on our relationship. And I just let it happen. The next week, I paid their car insurance. No reply. Not even a thank you. The month after that, I offered to babysit Lily. They said they already had plans with Isabel's mother. Of course they did. And still, I kept giving. Still kept showing up. Because I told myself, they're busy. They're young. They need support. But deep down, I knew the truth. I just didn't want to face it. And now, this dinner. The one that was supposed to celebrate their life. A life I helped build. I had offered to host. Bought the groceries. Even arranged catering. I thought I was part of their family. But I wasn't. I was just the one funding it. That realization? It didn't make me angry. It made me empty. Cold. Because suddenly, everything became clear. I hadn't been giving out of love. I had been giving out of fear. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of being alone. And they felt that. They knew it. And somewhere along the way, love turned into a transaction. And I was the one paying the price. So that night, I sat down at my computer. No hesitation. No second thoughts. I paused the automatic rent payments. Canceled the upcoming mortgage support. Changed passwords. Netflix. Amazon. Everything. No message. No warning. Just gone. Like I was never part of their system. 2 days passed. Silence. Peaceful. Almost too peaceful. Then, the messages started. Hey Catherine, did something happen with the rent? Mom, Netflix isn't working. Can you check the grocery card? It was declined. I read every message and replied to none. Because silence? Silence is the loudest answer you can give. By day 4, Leo started calling. Once. Twice. Again. And again. I watched the screen light up. Over and over. I didn't pick up. By the end of the week, 66 missed calls. But still, no apology. Not one message asking, Mom, are you okay? Just panic. That's when it hit me. They didn't miss me. They missed what I provided. And that realization? That changed everything. But I wasn't done yet. Not even close. Because what I did next made sure they would never forget what they had lost. But I wasn't done yet. Not even close. Because this was no longer just about money. It was about respect. And I had let mine slip away, slowly, quietly, for years. So I did something they would never expect from me. I turned everything formal. I pulled out the black ledger again. The one filled with every single expense. Every gift. Every help. Every sacrifice. And this time, I didn't look at it emotionally. I looked at it like a contract. I drafted a legal letter. Cold. Clear. Precise. Every major payment listed as a temporary loan, subject to recovery, unless they could prove it was given as a gift. This wasn't revenge. It was a boundary, a line I should have drawn a long time ago. A full week passed. Silence on my end. Panic on theirs. Then finally, a different message came through. Not from Isabel. From Leo. Alone. Mom, please talk to me. What's going on? I stared at the screen. Then read the next line. Isabel says you're upset because of a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I almost laughed. You're not invited. I don't want you here. What part of that was unclear? Still, this was my son. The boy who once held my hand. Like I was his entire world. The boy who promised he'd always take care of me. But that boy was gone. This man? He stayed silent. While his wife disrespected me. He didn't stop her. Didn't defend me. He only called when the money stopped. So I replied with just one word. Why? He answered instantly. Why? What do you mean? And that told me everything. He didn't even understand what he had done wrong. So I didn't explain. I didn't argue. Because sometimes silence teaches louder than words ever can. That night, I opened an old box in my wardrobe. Inside, his childhood drawings, crayon scribbles, Messy little hearts. I love you, Mom. Over and over again. There was also a photo. His college graduation. His arms wrapped tightly around me. My smile, brighter than ever. I looked at that picture for a long time, and I asked myself, where did that boy go? Then a thought hit me. Maybe I didn't lose him. Maybe I made his life so easy that he never learned how to value what he had. The next morning, a message came from Isabel. Long, carefully worded. Catherine, I'm sorry if what I said came off harsh. Came off harsh? She continued. We're just trying to set boundaries now that we have our own home. Boundaries. That word felt like a slap. She kept going. We need space to build our family without interference. Interference. So that's what I was now. Not support. Not family. Just interference. Something they used when convenient and removed when not needed. I didn't reply. Instead, I printed everything. 6 full pages. Every expense. Every contribution. Every moment. I chose them over myself. I placed it all in a red folder. The same kind I used when Leo was a child. Organizing bills. Keeping everything together. For him. Then I added one final letter. Handwritten. Simple. Over the years, I supported you out of love. I never asked for anything in return. But I did expect respect. You are adults now. This is me stepping back. I will no longer fund my own disrespect. No anger. No insults. Just truth. I drove to their house. Placed the folder in their mailbox. And left. By the time I got home, my phone was exploding. Calls. Messages. Voicemails. I ignored them all. Because for the first time in years, the silence in my home felt peaceful. Not lonely. Free. But what happened next was something they never saw coming. And honestly, neither did I. A week passed. Then another. And something strange started to happen. I began to feel lighter. Like a weight I didn't even realize I was carrying had finally been lifted. I went back to things I had abandoned years ago. Art classes. Long walks. Even a short trip to the mountains with old friends. I laughed again. Genuinely. Not the polite kind of laughter, but the kind that comes from deep inside. I also started spending time with my niece. We'd cook together. Talk about life. Share silly little moments. One day she looked at me and said, Aunt Catherine, you're glowing. I smiled. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't trying to be needed. I was just living. But peace doesn't last forever. Because eventually, truth finds its way out. And when it did, it didn't just shake them. It exposed everything. It happened during Leo's birthday dinner. The same kind of gathering I used to plan. The same kind I was no longer invited to. I wasn't there. But someone else was. Ben. One of Leo's oldest friends. He had seen the guest list and noticed something missing. Me. So he called me earlier that day. And for the first time, I told someone the truth. Not the polite version. The real one. Halfway through the party. Music playing. People laughing. Someone casually asked, Hey Leo, is your mom coming later? And just like that, the atmosphere shifted. Isabel froze. Leo looked uncomfortable. Then he said quietly, She couldn't make it. But before the moment could pass, Ben spoke up, loud enough for everyone to hear. No, she wasn't invited. Silence. Instant. Heavy. The kind that makes your chest tighten. People started looking at each other. Whispers spread across the room. Confusion. Judgment. One guest stood up and left. Then another. Someone even returned the gift they brought. By the end of the night, the party was practically empty. And for the first time, they felt it. The weight of what they had done. That same night, Leo left me a voicemail. His voice strained. Mom, I don't understand what's happening. People are turning on us. Isabel's crying. Can we please talk? I listened to it once, then deleted it. Because now, they weren't dealing with me. They were dealing with consequences. A few days later, a letter arrived. Handwritten. From Leo. I opened it slowly. And as I read, I felt something I hadn't felt in a while. Not anger. Not pain. Something softer. Mom, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve any of this. I don't know when I stopped seeing you as my mother and started seeing you as just help. I was afraid to stand up to Isabel, and I let her say things I should have never allowed. I want to try again. Not with money. Just me. Your son. If there's still a chance. I read it twice, then sat there in silence. Because for the first time, it didn't feel like panic. It felt real. He wrote it by hand, just like he used to. Crooked lines. Uneven spacing. Just like those old I love you, Mom cards. And for a moment, I saw him again. Not the man he had become, but the boy he once was. And I realized something important. I missed that boy. But I didn't trust this man. Not yet. And trust isn't something you give away twice. It's something that has to be earned. Then, a few mornings later, there was a knock on my door. I opened it, and there he was. Leo, standing quietly, holding little Lily in his arms. No Isabel. His eyes looked tired. Heavy. Mom, he said softly. I didn't know where else to go. My heart ached. But I didn't move right away. Because this time, things were different. And what he said next changed everything. I stepped aside and let them in. No words at first. Just silence. Thick, heavy, unfinished. Leo sat down slowly, still holding Lily like she was the only thing keeping him steady. Then finally he spoke. She left. I didn't react. Didn't ask how. Didn't ask why. I just waited. He swallowed hard. Last night, she packed a suitcase and walked out. Said she's staying with her sister. A pause. Then he added quietly. She told me. I needed to decide who I'm loyal to. That word again. Loyal. I crossed my arms lightly. And did you? I asked. He looked up at me. Eyes tired. Honest. And filled with something I hadn't seen in a long time. Regret. I thought I was choosing peace, he said. But all I did was lose pieces of myself. Another pause. And of you. That one landed. Hard. Mom. I know I let things go too far. His voice cracked. I let her disrespect you. And I stayed quiet. He looked down at Lily, then back at me. But you've always been the one who stood by me. No matter what. A deep breath. And I miss you. There it was. Not money. Not help. Just me. But pain doesn't disappear that easily. You didn't just stay quiet, Leo, I said softly. You let me become invisible in your life. He nodded. I know. And now that she's gone, you remember me. Tears filled his eyes. I deserve that, he whispered. Lily started to fuss in his arms. Without thinking, I reached out. He handed her to me. And just like that, she settled. Calm. Safe. Like she belonged there. I held her close. And something inside me shifted. Maybe this wasn't about punishment anymore. Maybe it was about something else. Something harder. Letting him earn his way back. Not as a child, but as a man. That night after they left, I stood by the window, staring at the moon, thinking about everything. About who I used to be, and who I had become. Because this version of me, this new version, understood something important. Boundaries don't disappear just because someone says I'm sorry. A few days later, a message came from Isabel. Cold. Sharp. Leo's been staying with you. Good luck. Let's see how long you enjoy that. No concern for Lily. No accountability. Just venom. And in that moment, it clicked. She wasn't upset because Leo left. She was upset because I didn't beg. I didn't chase. I didn't fight for a place in their lives anymore. She had lost control. And for the first time, I wasn't the one outside looking in. She was. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. But a few days later, Leo came back. This time, with a small box. I found this when she left, he said quietly. I opened it. Inside, printed messages, texts, emails, between Isabel and her sister. I read the first line. And my chest tightened. I can't stand that woman. Another line. She acts like we owe her something. And then, the one that said everything. Once the house is paid off, we won't need her anymore. I stopped reading. Couldn't. Didn't need to. Because now, everything made sense. This wasn't one bad moment. It wasn't one text. It was a plan. A slow, quiet, erasing. And I had finally stopped it. I looked at Leo. His face, pale. Eyes heavy with guilt. I didn't know, he whispered. I believed him. But belief is not the same as trust. I closed the box, took a deep breath, and said calmly, "This changes nothing." He nodded slowly. "I know." He walked toward the door, then paused. "Mom, I'm here now, and I'm not leaving." I watched him carefully, because words are easy, but consistency? That's what matters. And if he truly wanted to come back into my life, this time, he would have to earn it. The weeks that followed were quiet, careful, different. Leo started coming by regularly, not to ask for money, not for help, just to be there. Sometimes he'd bring Lily. Sometimes he'd come alone. He talked more, listened more. For the first time in years, he wasn't expecting anything, just time. He told me he had started therapy, got a second job on weekends, trying to fix things on his own. And I watched, not rushing, not trusting too quickly, just observing. Because growth, real growth, takes time. One morning, he came over looking nervous. "I need your advice," he said. I raised an eyebrow slightly. "About?" He hesitated. "Isabel filed for partial custody." "Of course she did." He continued. "She wants weekends, the house, and control of the joint account." I stood up slowly, walked to my cabinet, opened a drawer, and pulled out a business card. I handed it to him. "Call her." He looked at it. "A lawyer." "She's good," I said calmly. "Smart. Fair. And she doesn't get intimidated easily." He looked up at me. "Are you sure?" I met his eyes directly. "I'm not paying for your case, Leo." A pause. "But I will help you find the right tools, so you can fight your own battles." For a moment, he just stood there. Then something changed in his expression. No expectation, no entitlement, just gratitude. Real, quiet gratitude. "Thank you," he said. "I'll handle the rest." And this time, he did. Weeks passed, then months. The court made its decision. Joint custody, fair terms. And Isabel? Her demands were denied. Slowly, she faded out. Missed calls, canceled visits. Because in the end, she didn't want responsibility. She wanted control. And when she lost it, she lost interest. One night, I was tucking Lily into bed. She looked up at me with those soft, sleepy eyes and whispered, "Grandma, sing the song." I smiled and started humming the same lullaby I used to sing to Leo years ago. Her tiny eyes slowly closed, peaceful, safe, and in that moment, everything became clear. This story was never about money. It was never about that dinner. It wasn't even about Isabel. It was about something deeper, something most people don't realize until it's too late. It was about boundaries, about knowing when love turns into something else, something unhealthy, something one-sided, and having the strength to step back, even when it hurts. Because real love, it's not about giving endlessly until there's nothing left of you. It's about respect, balance, and sometimes distance. I didn't lose my son. I just stopped making it easy for him to lose me. The moment I stopped funding their life was the moment they realized I was never just support. I was the foundation. And when the foundation disappears, everything else starts to crack. Honestly, if I were in that situation, I would have done the same thing. Because love without respect is just slow self-destruction. And no one deserves to feel invisible in their own family. What would you have done? Would you keep helping? Or walk away like she did? Let me know in the comments.